speaking.
Welcome, you oh-so-delicious legions of the Eats Empire, to another delectable episode. On this episode, I'll be chatting with Chef Tony Nguyen, executive chef at Saigon House, a beautiful midtown bistro serving Vietnamese cuisine favorites like pho with oxtail broth, Viet Cajun crawfish, and many other seafood delicacies. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you may be wondering why all the Chinese New Year's photos and clips. Or maybe it's Chinese New Year's on the day you're watching this episode, so it seems perfectly normal. Well, I was invited by the owners of Saigon House shortly after their opening to celebrate Chinese New Year's at their then new restaurant. I ended up with a bunch of great photos and videos from that night, and I finally get to use them. So I'm here today with Chef Tony Nguyen. I'm going to ask him a few questions about Saigon House, where he's now executive chef. So Tony, my first question is, how old were you when you first started cooking?
When I first started cooking, I would definitely really young. First started off just cooking very simple things like just sunny side eggs for my family and my sisters. My parents were always working, so that's the first thing, just spam and eggs. And then throughout high school and college, it just developed a little bit more.
The first thing I made was eggs also. As soon as I was able to reach up high enough over the stove to get in the frying pan, I was allowed to cook.
Yeah, and then once I was a little bit older, around like 10 or 9, we had more responsibility, like such as cooking rice, and then like just getting very simple dishes like frying salmon fish and we'll eat it with steamed veggies and fish sauce. So it's very simple things, but I definitely the arts definitely started in my family's kitchen.
To me, rice is one of those things that can seem simple, but it's kind of a lifetime of work to try to get it just right, no matter how many
times. So many factors.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
You mentioned your parents worked a lot. I was curious, is there anybody in your family that worked in a restaurant while you were growing up?
Actually, no. My family, they did various jobs. The business that they ended up pursuing was landscaping, so we were outside a lot. But no, I'm the first person in my immediate family to be in restaurants.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. I was looking at the website for Saigon House, and, I got to say, I don't know if you had anything to do with the design, but it's fantastic. It's really minimalist, but it has all the information that you need. And I know that a lot of restaurants, they just way overdo it. Did you have anything to do with the website design?
When I first came on the team in 2017, we did a completely facelift for Saigon House. We had a lot to work with because Saigon House was already operating for about 2 years. So we just came in and just wanted to elevate the brand and just add a little bit of my style on Vietnamese food.
Speaking of your style, it seems that you've really upped the game with seafood there.
Yes.
Because I did a feature for a different show on Saigon House after they first opened, and I haven't been back since you've taken over, but it looks like, just a very different menu. It's a beautiful menu, but it looks like a little more contemporary to me. So tell me about your seafood influence, because I really love the pictures of the seafood on your website.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, seafood is very, very important to us, especially being so close to the Gulf. I just wanted to shed light on how Vietnamese people enjoy seafood, because this is the influence. A lot of the influence came just from my Vietnam trip. I just came back about a month ago. And it was just so beautiful to see like all this fresh and live seafood. And I was like, I want to bring this to Houston, but with my little twist on it.
I've been in Houston a long time, and I remember when there was only like 1 or 2 Vietnamese restaurants, and now they're everywhere. And but I remember we drive all the way downtown just to get spicy blue crab. And now it seems like, at least for me, the places that I go to, I don't see that dish as much, and I'm glad that you have it on your menu.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely something that my family enjoy at home a lot. So a lot of these dishes are definitely influenced by my family and just growing up around it. I would say my style is kind of like home cooking, but in a professional setting. In a sense of all my past experience, it really helped me guide to create this menu. And I'm just very happy that people in Houston and people that are traveling into Houston are enjoying our food and what we're doing here.
There's to me, there's nothing wrong with kind of the old school Houston Vietnamese restaurants, but some of them it's almost the same menu at every restaurant, which it's not necessarily a bad thing because you go to a burger joint and a lot of different burger joints have a lot of different or a lot of similarities, but you have really standout dishes. I noticed that your seafood boils in particular. I like the different names that you have for the signature flavors and the spice levels. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of those signature flavors and spice levels that you have. And so, if you don't mind, I was going to start with the signature flavors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The name that really jumps out at me that I really like, just for the name alone, is the H-Town Bang.
Yes, that's definitely a crowd favorite. So I was born and raised in Houston. I have a very, very, very strong pride in Houston. I love the city and everything that's about it. It's a tribute to Houston. H-Town Bang, as in it sounded like bang, like when they're banging music. I would say the sauce is just so flavorful and bold. So it's just like really banging. And then that's how we came up with the name. It has fresh cilantro, orange juice, and just a lot of garlic. Very, very familiar flavors.
Tell me about the Third Coast Sand.
So our Third Coast Sand is our take on Cajun seasoning. Just a lot of different spices in it, and it just kind of reminded me of sand. And I was like, this is perfect.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so it's our Cajun seasoning.
So I wanted to bring up the other flavor profile you use is the Thai Surprise. And it says chilies, basil, and lemongrass. And I wanted to start with the lemongrass, which is an ingredient that I've never cooked with it. I'll say that straight up, but I always enjoy when somebody who knows how to use lemongrass is able to bring that item into their dish. So can you first, tell our listeners about lemongrass and tell us how that brings out a good flavor profile in your Thai Surprise?
So lemongrass, they just kind of, it looks like a wheat, but it has a very citrus flavor profile. So what you tend to do is when you grab it fresh, you have to break it up, and it kind of releases the fragrance of the lemongrass. So it's used in a lot of Southeast Asian cooking like Thailand, Vietnam. It generally uses a lot for broth or sauces, and it's just an ingredient that we're so familiar with, and we use it in a couple of our marinades and also our Thai Surprise. I wanted to do something very similar to like a tom yum profile, so this was perfect, and I was like, let's just name it Thai Surprise because there's the surprise of the dish is actually our dehydrated garlic that's in it, like thin slices of garlic pieces that when you just add it to it, it gives it another texture, and it also it's extreme garlic flavor. So that's my surprise for that dish.
Well, tell me about you mentioned tom yum. Can you go in a little more in depth about tom yum?
Tom yum is a Thai dish, very, very popular beginning dish. It's usually a soup with like tomatoes or mushroom, but it's a very, it's a spicy citrus soup. My crawfish resembles that flavor profile.
So there's, now I was going to move on to the spice levels that you have. And, I got to say, you have 4 different spice levels. 3 are mythical creatures, and I like that. And then there's Sissy, which I got to tell you, I'm not really crazy about that one because it's just not because of the name, because I don't really think it fits in with the other 4, because you have Angry Dragon, Fiery Phoenix, Unicorn, and Sissy. So
no, so it's actually Sissy Unicorn.
Oh, it's
It's
Sissy Unicorn.
yeah.
Okay.
So we actually have 4 different flavor profile.
Gotcha.
Spice level. Sorry.
Okay.
So we have Sissy Unicorn, which is not additional spices at all. It's just the natural flavor from the boil or natural spices from the boil. And then we have Fiery Phoenix, which we use cayenne to increase the spice. And that would be typically your medium. And then Angry Dragon is a lot more cayenne. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then the last one we have the Grim Reaper, which we use Carolina Reaper peppers.
Wow.
And that one is definitely really, really spicy. So, but some people, they really enjoy it. I don't know how they eat it, but their mouth is like on fire.
Well, that makes more sense to me now, because I guess it's just how I read it on your menu online, because it it just shows Sissy on one line, and then on the very next line it says Unicorn. So it looked like two different ones. No, it's all right. I understand. And I noticed also it doesn't have the Reaper. Can you tell what's that called again? Reaper. I've heard of Reaper chilies, but what's the name of that spice level again?
It's a menu item. It's called our Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
We call it the Grim Reaper, kind of like how everything's mythical, and like we have the Angry Dragon, but the Grim Reaper is spicier because it's like deadly. And we this came in design because a couple of our guests wanted spicier. They're like, your Angry Dragon's good, but I like it a little bit spicier. And I was like, okay, so we try to accommodate our guests as much as possible. So we ordered Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper is a pepper that it's the spiciest pepper right now in existence. Last time I checked, but they change every year, so I'm not very familiar with the new one this year. But it's very, very popular, and it's extremely spicy and painful. I don't know. I don't know why people enjoy it so much. Well, we actually been experimenting with some. So we take the Carolina Reaper and we create a chili oil. You know how like Asian cuisines usually have like chili oil. Mm-hmm. So we have a Carolina Reaper chili oil now that we offer our guests if they enjoy the spice.
So I got one more question for you. This is not really about Saigon House. I'm more interested in, say, all right, your shift is over, and I know, like, from working in restaurants, there's most places, or a lot of places, I won't say most, they provide shift meals or some type of food for the staff. But say you don't want that, and you want to go out, go relax somewhere with, friends, and have some comfort food. Late at night, where are you going to go?
When I was on the food truck and stuff, doing food truck first, my comfort food was Vietnamese food.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But now we're a little bit more adventurous. I definitely, if since I'm in Midtown and I really want to grab a bite, I would go to Conservatory, go to Moku Bar over there. They do poke down there at Conservatory, which is a really cool food court area.
Right. Are they open late?
Yes, they are open late.
Oh, that's good to know. I think is Samurai Noodle there also? Do they have a location?
So Moku took over Samurai's food stall.
Oh, okay. And that's
I definitely enjoy like a poke afterwards, and they also have udon noodles now.
Oh, all
over
right.
there for the winter time.
Well, thanks again, Tony.
Okay, thank you again. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
If you're listening to the audio-only version of this episode, go to eatsempire.com/podcasts to see the video version of some masterful drumming at Saigon House during their Chinese New Year's celebration.